Jessie, can I ask, this may be the last question on the item, but would also like to get a sense of Jessie as real, the decision maker on the city council, maybe next year. On January 1st, a report is due to the legislature from the State Department of Transportation on the board tunnel plan. The department's supposed to talk about the design, a revised financing estimate, and one component is looking at tolls. The legislature really hopes that there's going to be $400 million for tolls. But a 2002 report also from WashDOT showed that tolling of that corridor probably could finance only about between $80 to $100 million in bonds. Maybe things would change. But what if they don't? What if tolls really can only finance $80 to $100 million and the state says, you know what, Seattle, you really want this? You need to come up with $300 more million. What do you do?
That's, what do you do? You know, that's going to be a question we're going to have to solve as a community. I think what I do is make sure that we look at all of our options. We look at how we're spending money. I mean, right now, what everybody's most worried about is that we're going to go significantly over budget, and so and that the project looks like a big black hole. So, wanting to make sure that we're setting the management tools in place so that we don't go over budget, and that we're setting accountability. Getting accountability in place, looking at other ways of financing. There are limited number of options. I don't believe that the City of Seattle should be, and City of Seattle property owners should be carrying the lion's share of any cost overruns. And if we're generating less revenue than we need, I don't think that the City of Seattle should be bearing the brunt of that. I think we're going to need to spread it out across the board.
Where do you think the state and the city should draw the line on an overall plan? Because you mentioned that transportation project costs a lot. It was $5 billion too much, $6 billion, $7 billion. You know, where do you? That's
one of those. That's one of those. We're going to have to answer that question together. We're going to have to answer that question together. I could say, you know, we should pay very little, and the rest of the state should pay a lot. But I think it's going to be a negotiation, and I think we're going to need to have folks who know how to negotiate, who know who know how to negotiate and go in serving the best interests of the city, and have confidence, and where the legislators and the governor's office and the folks that you're negotiating with have confidence in you. And I don't know that they have confidence in our current city council.
Could I clarify something from our questionnaire? We had a question about allowing backyard cottages and whether or not you were in favor of that. Yes or no?
Yes. I think, and can I expand on that a little bit?
Bring it on.
You know, we have, as you alluded to earlier, we have a challenge in front of us in making sure that we're providing enough housing for the people that are going to be living here 20 years down the road. And in order to keep Seattle affordable, we need to make sure that we're keeping up with our housing needs. I think backyard cottages and are a good way of maintaining the character of neighborhoods. That everybody agrees that we have such wonderful character in our neighborhoods and in our single-family home neighborhoods. This is a way of maintaining that character and adding twice as many people. We need to make sure that we're doing it well and thoughtfully, and that we're not building a new generation of slumlords out there. But I think we can do that, and we're up to the challenge, and other cities have done it as well.
Many of our neighborhoods don't have enough density to support mass transit. How do you propose serving them with public transit?
I'm a supporter of buses are by far the best way of. And when you say mass transit, I should clarify. When you say mass transit, do you mean fixed transit, or do you include buses?
Just allowing you to fill in the blank.
Okay, so I am a supporter where fixed transit works. Fixed transit is expensive, and light rail is expensive. The value of light rail is not that it moves more people than buses. The value of light rail is because it's fixed and you can build around it. And where that doesn't work, because we either can't build around it, we are not zoned to build around it, or we don't want to put in the infrastructure investment. I think we need to make sure that we are maintaining bus service, increasing bus service, taking advantage of BRT, bus rapid transit, and building strong walkable communities so that folks don't need to have a single occupancy vehicle.
There's some controversy over the streetcar, whether or not it should be expanded or not expanded. How do you view the streetcar?
I think streetcar is just one element in many things that we need to do. There's not one type of transit that is going to fix our transit problems.
So would you support expanding the streetcar?
I think the streetcar makes sense in certain areas. Right now, there aren't enough people riding the streetcar, and I think it gets a pretty bad rap. I think as South Lake Union fills up, as the Mercer project is, and as South Lake Union is knit together with South Lake Union Park, and we turn that area into an actual neighborhood, I think it will get more ridership, and I think it does make sense for close-in neighborhoods where there's density around those neighborhoods like Capitol Hill, like possibly the University District or Fremont or Pioneer Square. I think it does make sense.